And welcome back to the journey to the FarLands. Okay, let's see. I'm going to start out here doing something I haven't done in a very long time, and that is eat. Fix the health issue up. Let's go ahead and make up a new mushroom stew. Oh, I forgot you can't do that in a personal crafting grid in this version. You have to actually use a crafting table. What is going on? This stuck key thing. There we go. It's like one of my keys was stuck down. Okay, let's go ahead and put the dirt in the prime position and break out of here. Everything is cool. Should be. We only slept just a few minutes ago. Well, from my point of view. And we're off. Just kind of slosh across here and head across that way. Okay, going to the world size. Windows reports the save folder at 607 megabytes, and Minecraft is reporting the world size at 610.08 megabytes. And so we're proceeding onward, and as I said at the end of the last episode, I'm recording this one immediately after finishing up that one. So for me, only a few minutes have passed, and probably some number of days for you all, 3 or 4, something like that. Possibly I might let this one actually wait and appear on Saturday. I don't know. And it's possible that between now and then I may decide to sit down and record several more episodes, and who knows, I might even, if I do that, dare to adjust my schedule to the point where it would be a twice-a-week event. We'll see. That depends on whether or not I can get enough stuff recorded ahead of time. I'm going to slosh ahead here in the hopes that some terrain will generate close by. If not, I'll switch to a boat and then something will generate right away. Anyway. Let's see. All of that gobbledygook out of the way. And of course now no big terrain is generating, so... Or is it? Okay, anyway. Let's see. Another recent question on Formspring was, what was your favorite thing in school? Also, what is your daily routine? Okay, I did actually have several favorite things in school. At least 3 or 4 things in school that I could say were favorites. And I will say, without hesitation, that my absolute, hands down, all-time favorite thing about school was leaving it. Whether it was for the day, or for lunch, or for a holiday vacation, or for the summer, or what have you, whatever the reason was, and most especially when it was forever after I graduated, leaving school was absolutely hands down my one and only main favorite thing about school. And that's because really I hated school. And that, I don't know how many people actually feel that way or felt that way about school while they were in school, but I hated every minute of it. It was just one bad day after another. You know, I was not one of the cool kids. I was not like the class clown or anything like that. I was the guy that, whoa, what is all these major lag bursts? Good gravy. Anyway, it just, it wasn't my thing. I've never been an extremely social person to start with, and I guess my experience with school was bad right from the very start. The very first teacher I had was somebody that, well, from my point of view, it was like, okay, I'm going to put this kid in his place right from the get-go and make sure he stays there. You know, and there was, well, there was no love lost, let's put it that way. It was an adversarial thing right from the very start, right from day one. And I guess that kind of colored my opinion of the whole thing. You know, it was something you had to do, but that was it. You did it because you had to. And so on. So my absolute number one favorite thing about school was leaving it, regardless of the reason. And beyond that, I did have several other favorite things. Let's see. Lunch was usually a favorite because I know a lot of people always looked at it and went, ew, mystery meat, but high school cafeteria meatloaf. I realize a lot of people even now probably hear me say that and go, ew, mystery meat, how could you? But there was something about it. I don't know what it's like now, but I know back when I was in school in the 1960s and 70s that there was just something about that. It was just so good. I couldn't get enough of it. I could never explain why. It was just good. I loved it. So that was one of my favorite things in school. Let's see. As might be predictable for teenage guys, girls were one of my favorite things in school. Sadly, however, I was not one of their favorite things. As a matter of fact, quite the opposite. It was like if I ever managed to find the courage to speak to one, the reaction that I generally got was on the order of, ew, get away from me, you creep. And I never understood that, but that's the reaction that the kind of reaction that I usually got. It was very rare that girls in school had any kind of an interest in me at all, even as a casual friend or acquaintance or whatever. Well, I'm having a doggone time with the trees. Anyway, it was just that kind of thing. They remained one of my favorites even today. But in school especially, I was not even close to being a favorite of theirs. Anyway, let's see. Let's get on away from that before it gets even more morbid than it sounds like. Oh, excuse me. Time for a brief cough, probably thanks to your local cigarette. And it's getting to Heidi hole time, or Heidi dirt pole time. So we'll just come along here and abandon the boat and see what we can find for a decent spot. And this looks good enough. Let's see, what else was my favorites in school? I did particularly enjoy science classes, especially when the teachers were of the... Oh, really? Please? You doing that to me again? Well, when a teacher in science was of the kind that had the talent, the comparatively rare talent, of kind of making the subject come alive, making it seem more real and giving you more of a hands-on feel, having the fairly rare talent of being able to explain things and present things in such a way that made them interesting when otherwise they might not be. I was very interested in that, and that was one of the classes I actually enjoyed, especially in high school when they got into some of the sciences that had more depth to them or more bite. Chemistry class, when sciences started getting into stuff about weather and how and why weather forms and how it behaves and why it behaves the way it does, things like that. That was fascinating. And anything that touched on electronics, electrical circuits, and why that sort of stuff works and how it works and that kind of thing. I've always been fascinated with that stuff. And perhaps it would have been better had I gone to some kind of a school for that and gotten into an electronics related profession or technical profession. It would have been better and so on, but the financing for that kind of schooling didn't happen. Not for me in those days. And so on. So that was about that. Let's see what else we have here. Oh yes, the other half of the question. Also, what is your daily routine? Well, my daily routine isn't quite as routine or regular as it might be for a lot of people, because I don't have an actual regular sleep pattern, for example, of like a lot of people will go to bed at a given time at night and get up at a given time in the morning, and the rest of their lives kind of gets built around that. I used to do things like that, but anymore, oh, for crying out loud. Anyway, anymore, several years ago, around the time that my wife died, I decided on a change. And the main crux of this change was to eliminate as much stress from my life as possible, because one of the contributing factors in her death was stress. And so I decided to eliminate as much of that from my life as I could. And one of the ways that I decided to do that was to not keep myself to a set, strict, hard, carved in stone schedule when I didn't have to. I didn't have any particular reason that I needed to go to bed by midnight or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or whatever time it was. I didn't have any real reason to. you know, not having a regular real world kind of job, and not being likely to ever get one, because with the sort of issues I have, I doubt very seriously that anybody would look an application I put in seriously. I don't think they would even consider it. I know, were I hiring and somebody applied with an application like I would put in, I probably wouldn't hire them. So I'm really not expecting anything like that to ever happen. It's possible, I suppose, but I don't expect it. Anyway, the big change in the sleep thing was I decided that what I was going to do about sleep was, instead of tying myself down to a particular set schedule and having a set bedtime and a set time in the morning to get up and all that, I decided that I would just simply make it really, really simple. When I'm tired, I go to sleep. When I'm not tired, I stay up. And I don't care what time of day or night that is. The only time that I make any exception to that is if I have some appointment or something I need to do that has to be during the daytime. I will do the best I can to make sure that I am actually awake during that time. But other than that, you know, if you're tired, go to sleep. If you're not, don't. That's the way I decided to do it. And that one little change all by itself eliminated a lot of stress. It really did. It allowed me to decide to stay up and keep working on something as long as I was feeling awake enough to continue. And it also allows me to, whenever I decide I'm too tired to keep doing whatever, to just stop, put it away, and go to sleep. And it doesn't matter what time of day or night that it is. You know, I don't have to apologize to anybody for it. I just do it. And that's the way that works. So that right there makes my routine, such as it was, probably a lot more flexible than most people's. I can say that when I get up for the day, regardless of what time of day or night that might be, I almost always start the day out by making a pot of coffee. Oh boy. Skeleton, you picked a bad time to spawn, and then walk out of the shade. Oh, come on. It's a short jump. Okay. All this shade, I really should keep a sword handy. So once I start the day with my first pot of coffee, and the almost inevitable smoke or two or three or whatever that goes with that, then I will usually, but not always, start by checking email. There are days when the thought of looking at email and spam just leaves me feeling such that I might just decide not to bother checking the email for 3 or 4 days. And usually that's actually pretty much okay. As an example in that, a couple of days ago, I checked my mail, and there were like almost 400 emails in there, about 390 some. And out of that 390 emails, I actually kept and downloaded 3. The rest of it was either spam or automated notifications from this or that, or subscription things that I had subscribed to at one point or another, and for the most part stopped looking at, and have been just, I couldn't be bothered to unsubscribe because, well, partly because a lot of times I am still interested in the subject, I just don't feel like reading about it at that moment. And so, yeah, 395 or so emails, and 3 of them I kept. And that's just on my main email account. I've got several others. And let's see, we're getting into time to sleep, and I have not even given any thought to a hidey hole. So let's just go ahead and dig in right here. Yeah, this is the second one. Okay. Thought for a second I was on the first hidey hole digging in, and I didn't need to. All right, so as I was saying, my daily routine isn't really too much of a routine. It's very flexible, and a lot of time it just depends on what I feel like at the time or what I'm trying to accomplish. Oh, and I guess I'm out of here. Anyway, be sure to stop by tinfoilchef.com/donate and donate to Child Play Charity. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'm out of here.